Will the West Virginia Mountaineers be able to compete in today's new world of college athletics? Well, I'm going to ask the man himself, Athletic Director Wren Baker. In this upcoming interview, we talk about that and a whole lot more. So stick around and hear what Wren had to say right after this word from our sponsor. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. What is up? Come on in, make yourself comfortable, belly yourself up to the bar, and let me pour you out another shot of top shelf college football content. I'm very excited to bring you this episode today, as I'm very honored and privileged to have West Virginia's Vice President and Director of Athletics, Wren Baker, on the show. We cover a lot of ground in this interview. I had a lot more questions I could have asked Wren, but I wanted to respect his time. So stick around, enjoy. Here he is, Wren Baker. We are here with Wren Baker, West Virginia's Vice President and Director of Athletics. He has been kind enough to join us today to talk a little bit of West Virginia sports and a little bit about some off the field and off the court stuff too that's going on around college sports. I want to thank Wren for joining us today. Wren, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, and thanks for your passion and coverage and promotion of the Mountaineers.
Absolutely. Glad to do it. It's a lot of fun and really looking forward to getting this football season kicked off here. Obviously, I guess spring camp starts here in just a couple of days from now. From actually tomorrow, I think we're recording this on the
Tomorrow, that's
30th.
correct. Yeah.
Yep.
So
And it's
this afternoon, I actually pop in over there to greet the team and along with a host of other people. But yeah, they get kicked off tomorrow.
yeah, awesome. Let's just go ahead and start off there. Last year, obviously going into the season, there was some questions, I guess, from the fan base side about the team, and coming off a 5-7 season, obviously didn't meet expectations for Coach Brown, the team, or anybody else. Now this year, obviously, it's a whole different story. Coming off a 9-4 year, exceeded expectations, at least outside expectations. Coming off a nice bowl win, Coach Brown getting doused in mayo. Should be a different vibe. What can you describe the feeling around the team and the locker room and what it feels like going into this year versus last year?
Yeah, I think there's confidence, but also at the same time, there's still that chip on their shoulder of wanting to prove people wrong. We're certainly picked a lot higher by the prognosticators this year than we were last year. But I think our goals and what our team is trying to achieve is much greater than what people are predicting, and I think they're trying to use that to rally around that. That team has a really strong camaraderie and really good culture, and so I'm excited about the way they've worked. I'm excited about the potential they have. Certainly, there's some big challenges on the schedule, tough non-conference schedule, and playing 9 conference games. And but I think they're up for the challenge, and I know that Mountaineer Nation is going to be there with us, giving us that home field advantage, which is tremendous here. If you look at the metrics, we really do enjoy a strong home field advantage when teams have to come in here and play, and we're going to need that to be a factor as we go through the year.
Yeah, that game coming up on August 31st with Penn State, probably one of the most hyped up or most anticipated games, non-conference games anyway, that we've had in Morgantown in quite some time. So it should be an electric atmosphere. What are your thoughts on that? I know the game times are not selected by the school. Obviously, it's selected by the TV networks, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And the only time where we would have a choice on a game time is if linear TV didn't pick it up. If it's
Right.
streamed on ESPN Plus, for instance, and we usually have 1 or 2 of those a year, then we're able to pick that game time. But
Gotcha.
you still as you get into the season, it's a 2-week window, and so you can't set it until 2 weeks out. I listen. I think night games in Morgantown are special. If given a choice on that game, I would have played it at night. But for the opportunity to be the noon game on Big Fox and to have Fox's show come in here, the Big Noon Kickoff, and I think those are tremendous opportunities for us to be able to grow our market and our brand. And listen, they could kick that game off at 6 a.m. It's going to be sold out. People are going to
Hmm.
be rowdy. They might pull an all-nighter to be ready. But
Yeah.
we actually had earlier today our first large game operations meeting where all of the EMS, police, concessions, custodial, everybody
Hmm.
who touches our game day is involved in that meeting. And so I told them they might have dodged a little bit of a bullet to draw a noon kick on that game. That may make their jobs a little
Yeah.
easier, but I would. I have no doubt. I'm fully confident. I know the game's already sold out, and and probably could have sold out twice. And I have no doubt that Mountaineer Nation will be primed and ready
Hmm.
when the Nittany Lions take the field and the Mountaineers come out to play.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Already got my tickets. I went the mini plan route this year, and I'm excited. Um, you talked about the game day, which actually segues into one of the questions I had for you, Ren. I don't know if you've seen this, but there was a study done. I don't know. I don't remember who did the study, but it's been done a couple times actually about the most expensive game day experiences in the country. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have. Oddspedia did it, who I'm not super familiar with, and it's not a real fact-based scientific
Okay.
study.
Okay.
But I follow that kind of stuff, and I'm very very in tune with where our price points are, and we talk about it a lot, and it is a delicate balance between trying to draw in as much revenue as you can, but trying
Hmm.
not to price out your blue collar
Hmm.
everyday fan, because those are the people that are the most loyal to you. So you take Penn State this year, a blue lot pass online, I think is going for $1,200 or $1,300.
Hmm.
We don't charge that. I think maybe the whole season. And so
Right.
like, you know, we could obviously charge more for that Penn State game, but we understand, like, if you price out, if you go true market based pricing, then you're excluding a lot of people that are going to come in that next week to the Albany game, and so you're trying
Right.
to strike a balance there of doing that. But there's a couple of notes that I would make, because I think it's important for people to know the facts. They have our ticket price in there at $100. Well, the only game, we have four tiers that we set
Hmm.
up for single game pricing: tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only game that's $100 on our schedule this whole year is Penn State.
Right.
And the average tier 4 price, if you look at all the games, including Penn State, $67. If you exclude that Penn State game, which is a premium, it's priced at
Hmm.
$62. And
Hmm.
so that's you get two tickets for 125 when they're saying they're $100 a piece. And then they didn't
Right.
have our concession prices right. They had
Right.
$12 for two hot dogs, it's $10. They had $14 for two sodas, it's 11.
Okay.
They had 14 for two fountain sodas, or for two bottled sodas, and it's 10. So they had those. They
Gotcha.
didn't have their numbers right, and so if you put in the real numbers,
Hmm.
I think we would have dropped a lot. Now, all that being said, um, listen, I grew up the son of a single mother in rural Oklahoma, first generation college graduate. A $50 ticket is a lot for people to invest. And so I get that. And what we do when we look every year at our ticket prices, at our concession prices, at all of that, is we really try to just make sure that we're in line with our competitors. We look really closely always at Virginia Tech. We look at Pitt. We look at North Carolina. We look really at our regional teams and competitors. Penn State's one, and we say, okay, let's make sure that we're not above those other programs. Now, it might be on a single item, but generally, we're trying to make sure that we're competitive there. And last thing I would also mention, and we were doing this anyway, so it's probably going to look like it's a reaction to that article, and it's actually not. But this year we are introducing some fan first pricing, and so 5 of our concession stands will have $3 popcorn, $3 fountain drinks, I think
Wow.
$3.50 pepperoni rolls, and those
Awesome.
5 are in all the different quadrants of the stadium. So it's not every stand, but there's one in every area.
Okay.
So So I'm aware of that article. I definitely try to. Spend a lot of time looking at data. I'm a very data driven person
Right.
to make sure that we're getting as much money as we can, especially, and we'll talk about the house settlement and rev share.
Right.
And I've been really clear about where our
Hmm.
budget ranks when you take out travel and
Hmm.
debt service. That
Hmm.
net is the lowest in the Big 12, and so people want us to compete, and so we have to find a way to drive revenue,
Right.
and that gets pinched even harder because we don't have a lot of suites and club seats and
Hmm.
premium that you can just mark up every year. But we spend a lot of time trying to make sure that we're not pricing people out, and that those tier 3 and 4 tickets. And right now, if you were to go online, over 50% of all of the tickets available are tier 4 tickets. And so we try and make those as affordable as we can, so that people can come in and have a chance to buy those. And you mentioned the mini game pack.
Hmm.
We did this year the 304 pass. I think
Hmm.
that's an average of $43 a ticket
Yep.
if you do that. And then we also have the green zone and the family fun zones,
Hmm.
and those for the season ticket that average is $57
Yeah.
a ticket. So we are intentional about trying to keep some tickets affordable. But if you want to come and sit on the 50 in one of those tier 1, like, you're going to pay
Yeah.
for it. But the
Right.
reality is, we could probably charge more. I think tier 1 for Penn State's 175, $180, but
Hmm.
we could have charged $300 and sold them
Yeah.
all. Like,
Right.
and so you're trying to balance being fair to people, but also trying to run a good business, because college athletics is becoming more and more of a professionalized model,
Hmm.
and it requires revenue.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, when I go, my daughters are always wanting me to take them to places, and um, they want to. They're used to getting a sit in a good location, getting good parking at Mountaineer games, so they think that's the expectation when we go other places. So I pay those prices for other events,
Hmm.
and I swallow hard sometimes at it, and
Yeah.
so. And so I just want people to know, whether they agree with where we landed or not, there is a lot of thought put into it. I hate that article. I thought it was inaccurate last year. I've asked our people to reach out to the people that produce it and get them the right data to make sure that we're getting compared correctly, because I don't think it's reflective. I don't. If people go to other games, we're nowhere near the second most high price. The first thing
Okay.
I do when we go to other venues is go look at their concession prices and
Yeah.
look at their ticket price. I walk because I have a couple hours before the game and when I travel with the team,
Uh-huh.
and so I think, like, it's unfortunate that become a headline, and it got amplified here locally in the state. But I'm confident that we're competitive with peer institutions, and those peer institutions are not, you know, SEC top 5 schools. They're regional peers who have similar fan bases to ours.
All right. Well, I'll thank you I'm glad I asked the question, and I thank you for addressing that, because we needed to set the record straight on that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about basketball real quick, and then we'll jump into the stuff that I'm sure everybody wants to talk about, and that's the house settlement stuff. But Coach DeVries coming in, obviously, pretty much a whole new roster with the exception of one player. They're getting ready to go on the Italy trip here. I don't know. I guess they leave in the next few days.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on
Yeah,
tomorrow.
hey, I hope my wife doesn't listen to this, because I'm still in the doghouse. Both the men and women's team are doing foreign tours, and they both invited us to go, and I didn't feel like
Oh.
we could go with everything going on with the house settlement and other,
Mhm.
getting ready for football. So I'm a little bit in the doghouse on
I bet.
not going on this Italy trip.
I bet. Where are the women going to? Are they going to Italy as well? Or
Uh,
are they?
they're touching on. They go to more places. I think they're Croatia. I think they go to Italy. Maybe one or two other
Okay.
places. So they
Interesting.
left. They left yesterday. In fact, they had some delays, and I saw them this morning on cots in the airport
Mm.
somewhere. So
Oh man.
yeah, but they'll get there eventually, and it's a great experience. For those kids to be able to go and get some culture from another country, see new things, to probably get an experience they may not ever get, if not for college athletics.
Awesome. Happy to hear that. What's the feeling around the men's program right now? I mean, with Coach DeVries, I know you've been able to observe some practices. What have been your observations when you observe practice with Coach DeVries and that new staff and this new batch of players?
Yeah, very detailed, high energy. a lot of instruction and coaching going on, but it's done in a positive way. It's done. They get in and out and try and keep them. They're trying to get them, make sure the kids are getting up and down the floor and keeping their making sure that they're getting ready for the season, getting their breath and all that all ready. But I've been really impressed. Uh, they guard very hard. They're very athletic. They've got some shooters, some scorers on the team. Undersized right now. I know they'd still probably take another post if they could find the right one. But they really, I think, have a chance to be competitive and make some noise. And the Coliseum is another. If you go to KenPom, which is an analytics website that super fans definitely follow. I don't know if the casual fan knows about KenPom, but it measures analytics of every possession and how every team does at home and away. And it has the Coliseum is one of the top 5 best home court venues, and so that's another factor. We need our fans to be what they've always been, and that's loyal, come out and be a big difference for that team. But it may take them a little bit to gel early. When you got a whole new team, whole new coaching staff, that takes time. But this foreign trip should help with that, and I'm really excited about what I've seen so far out of them.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. I'm excited about that too, about the basketball season. It's like I say, so far I've liked everything I've heard from Coach DeVries. Obviously bringing Tucker with him is a huge bonus, right? Doesn't hurt to have a 20-point a game
I
scorer
tell him
on the
all the
roster.
time. My only complaint is he didn't have more sons, because if he could have had 3 or 4 transfer, that would
Yeah,
have been
really.
good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You mentioned data analytics a minute ago and how you're a data guy. And I know you've talked about this some in other podcasts, and I think you touched on it some with the caravan events and things like that. But, we're constantly, as West Virginia fans and someone who talks about the team and covers the team, I'm constantly having to talk about, for a lot of people, I think a lot of outsiders don't understand the value of West Virginia's brand and how big of a brand it actually is, right? And there was some guy who put out a thing the other day talking about how the Big 12 should consider kicking West Virginia and 3 other schools out to add other teams and just all kinds of garbage. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did
But
not.
but anyway, I did a show on it and basically brought some data to back up why West Virginia is one of the top brands in the conference, in my opinion. But when it comes to data analytics, and I know you've dove into this stuff, what makes West Virginia, from an analytics perspective, one of the top brands in the country, in your opinion?
Well, when you look at viewership, we're consistently in that top 30 range. When you look at overall success in football and basketball, I mean, we're top 20 in wins in both of those.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at licensing, what number of items that sell with your logo on it, we're always in the top 30 in that, by any metric that you would look at. Other than state population, but any other metric that you would look at, we're consistently a top 30 brand. And I'll be honest, when I being born and raised in Oklahoma, spending most of my time in that part of the country, I probably didn't realize just how much the brand equity that we really have. But and I say this all the time. My challenge, and the challenge that our staff has, is to get our budget to that top 30, because right now we're right around 60, and we really overachieve with the budget that we have. And athletics is a lot like politics. Whoever's spending the most money is going to win a lot of the time. And so we really got to find a way to grow our budget in any way, shape, or form that we can. But there's no I mean, anybody who acts like we're not one of the most valuable brands in the Big 12, like, I've seen everybody's valuation, because we sit in rooms, right, and we look at all of our current teams and where their valuation would be, and we look at all of the other teams who could potentially be members of a conference. And I've seen that time and time again. And we've always been in the top 4 or 5 in the Big 12. We've always been in the top 30 in the country. And so anybody who's spewing out anything different than that is doing so out of ignorance, because they don't really know what they're talking about. There's not a metric out there where we wouldn't be one of the more valuable brands in the conference, and one of the top 30 or so in the country.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've looked at a lot of those same metrics online myself, those that are available to the outside world, and I agree with you. Matter of fact, I found one where Navigate actually had West Virginia as a top 10 brand.
Yeah.
That one
Yeah.
really threw me. I was like, wow, that's even higher than
Yeah.
I expected it to be. So that's
Yeah.
uh,
And Navigate's I mean, that's a very well respected
mhm,
name in college athletics. I mean, that's who did the study that Florida State quotes a lot when they're talking about they should be getting more of their
mhm,
rev share from the league. And so, you know, those guys at Navigate do a really good job. They're not the only ones. There's 3 or 4 others that people use, but I've seen all of them, and all
mhm.
of them put a lot of value into that West Virginia brand.
Awesome.